Deep in the story of humanity, a dark chapter has been unearthed. It's a tale written not in words, but in bone. For millions of years, our ancestors survived in a world of immense danger. We often imagine them as noble pioneers, but the earth holds secrets, some deeply unsettling. Evidence has emerged of a gruesome practice that challenges our perception of our ancient relatives. For some of our earliest ancestors, the most dangerous predator they faced was each other. This is the story of cannibalism, a shadow that has lingered in our family tree for nearly 1,000,000 years. The clues are undeniable, etched into the very fossils that tell us of their existence. Scientists, like detectives of deep time, have pieced together a chilling narrative of survival and violence. To truly understand who we are, we must be brave enough to look at all that we once were, no matter how disturbing. The beings who practiced this were not monsters, they were hominins, early members of the human family. They walked upright, used tools, and had minds capable of complex thought. And yet, for reasons we are only now beginning to comprehend, they sometimes turned on one another. This behavior is as old as our presence in Europe. The journey to uncover this truth takes us to the mountains of northern Spain, to the Sierra de Atapuerca. Here, a network of caves has preserved a remarkable and horrifying record of ancient life. Amongst the remains of ancient animals, paleontologists found something that would rewrite the history of our earliest European ancestors. The evidence was small, but its implications were enormous. A single bone from a child. The site is called Gran Dolina, part of the Atapuerca cave system, a library of ancient history. In the 1990s, researchers digging through a layer known as TD6 found the oldest hominin fossils in Western Europe. They belonged to a new species, Homo antecessor, the pioneer man. But the human bones were not found as complete skeletons. They were scattered, fragmented, and mixed with butchered animal remains. One piece stood out, a cervical vertebra from a child no older than 10, covered in fine parallel cut marks. These were deliberate incisions made by a sharp stone tool, exactly where a butcher would sever the head. As excavation continued, more human remains were found in the same condition. Bones from at least 11 individuals, all showing signs of butchery. Limb bones were systematically broken open for marrow, skulls were shattered. The marks mirrored those found on hunted animals. The conclusion: these humans had been treated as food. This was not a burial site, but a prehistoric kitchen floor. The human remains were discarded with the same indifference as animal bones. There was no ceremony, no sign of ritual, just consumption. The people of Gran Dolina were not just killing their own, they were processing the bodies with chilling efficiency. Scientists call this gastronomic cannibalism, eating other humans for their nutritional value. The whispers from Gran Dolina had become a clear and horrifying scream, echoing across 850,000 years. The evidence was undeniable. Who were these ancient people? Homo antecessor is a mysterious figure in our family tree. Living between 1.2 million and 800,000 years ago, they were the first known hominins in Western Europe. Their appearance was a mix of ancient and modern traits. Robust build, but with surprisingly modern faces. Some researchers believe they may be a common ancestor to both Neanderthals and modern humans. These early Europeans were skilled survivors, living among formidable predators. They crafted stone tools, lived in small groups, and followed herds of game. The caves of Atapuerca provided shelter and a base for survival. Their lives were hard, a constant struggle for food and safety. The evidence from Gran Dolina shows they were successful hunters, which makes the evidence of cannibalism even more perplexing. If they could hunt animals, why eat their own kind? The discovery of Homo antecessor changed our understanding of human evolution in Europe, revealing a species both advanced and capable of brutal behaviors. Their legacy is forever tied to the dark secret found within their bones. The bones of the dead can speak if you know how to listen. At Gran Dolina, the story told by the bones was unambiguous. The cut marks were patterned, fine, deliberate slices on ribs and vertebrae, consistent with the removal of muscle. Other marks near major joints indicated dismemberment. Long bones were shattered by powerful blows from hammerstones to extract marrow. The marrow was a vital source of energy for hunter-gatherers. Smashing open the bones of their own kind shows total utilization of the body as a resource. Skulls were broken to access the brain, another rich source of nutrients. When scientists compared human and animal remains, the similarities were astonishing. the same tools, the same butchery patterns. The human victims were processed with the same methodical procedure as hunted animals. This clinical, emotionless processing rules out alternative explanations. This was not a desperate act of starvation, but a regular, established behavior. The number of victims and the systematic way they were consumed points to a pattern. For Homo antecessor, other humans were, at times, simply another item on the menu. The language of the bones is clear. The grim discovery at Dolina is not unique in human history. Evidence of cannibalism has surfaced at sites around the world involving different hominin species. In Goff's Cave, England, 15,000-year-old Homo sapiens remains show the same cut marks and butchery. Neanderthal sites like Moula Guerci in France and El Cedron in Spain also reveal clear signs of cannibalism. At El Cedron, a group of 12 Neanderthals, men, women, and children, were killed and eaten by others. The key is distinguishing true cannibalism from ritual burial or animal scavenging. The evidence at Dolina, Goff's Cave, and Neanderthal sites is overwhelmingly clear. This was butchery for consumption. By comparing these sites, a broader picture forms. Cannibalism was a recurring strategy across different hominins and times. From Homo antecessor in Spain to Homo sapiens in Britain, the echoes of this grim feast are undeniable. Each discovery adds to the puzzle, forcing us to accept that this behavior was a persistent part of the human story. Cannibalism was not a rare, desperate act. It was a recurring, if infrequent, part of our past. The question that remains, why? Why would our ancestors engage in such a brutal practice? The simplest explanation is survival. But at Dolina, animal remains were plentiful. This was not a time of famine. If not for survival, what other reasons could there be? Territoriality and aggression, cannibalism as the final act in violent conflict between groups. Consuming an enemy could have been the ultimate act of domination, sending a message to rivals. The victims at Dolina appear to be from an outside group, hunted and brought back like prey. Another possibility. Cannibalism was purely practical, other humans seen as a convenient food source. From a nutritional standpoint, a human body is a valuable package of protein and fat. Attacking the young of a rival group would provide an easy meal and cripple the group's future. The victims were mostly children and adolescents, easier targets. The true reason is likely a combination: violence, territoriality, and pragmatic use of defeated rivals as food. In a world where the lines between competitor and meal were blurred, cannibalism was a strategy. It was a behavior born from a brutal world. While cannibalism at Dolina was practical, other sites suggest a ritualistic dimension. In Goff's Cave, England, archaeologists found 3 skull cups, human crania, skillfully modified into bowls. The precision involved suggests a deliberate, symbolic craft. The creation of a skull cup transforms a person into an object of use, perhaps for ceremonies or offerings. This is a world away from the simple cannibalism seen at Dolina. At Goff's Cave, consumption was paired with ritual. Cannibalism may have held deeper meaning about power and spirituality or honoring the dead. This duality, consumption and ritual, shows cannibalism was not a single behavior. For Homo antecessor, it may have been a survival strategy. For later humans, a complex ritual. Perhaps they believed consuming flesh or drinking from a skull could absorb a person's spirit or strength. These discoveries challenge us to think more deeply about our ancestors' minds. The skull cups are a haunting reminder that the reasons people do things are often complex. The remains are clues to a belief system and worldview we are only beginning to understand. Each new discovery in paleoanthropology forces us to adjust our picture of the past. The story of human evolution was once seen as a simple march of progress. The evidence of ancient cannibalism shatters this romanticized image. It reveals that behaviors we consider abhorrent today may have been normal for our ancestors. Violence and brutality are not recent developments. They've been with us for a very long time. Our ancestors were creatures of their time, using every strategy to survive. This new understanding enriches the human story. The path to becoming who we are was messy, violent, and filled with difficult choices. Our capacity for cooperation may have evolved alongside our capacity for brutal competition. The darkness of our past may have forged the social behaviors we now cherish. We carry within us the legacy of that journey, both the light and the shadow. The cannibalism of Homo antecessor is a fundamental part of the human story. The silent caves of Atapuerca have shared a profound and disturbing secret. The scratches on a child's bone, preserved for 850,000 years, tell a story that resonates today. The cannibalism of Homo antecessor was not an aberration. It was a strategy for survival. This discovery forces us to confront the uncomfortable truth that our evolutionary path was not a simple ascent. Our capacity for creativity and destruction are two sides of the same coin. But the story does not end in darkness. The fact that we can study this evidence and be horrified by it is a testament to how far we've come. Our moral and ethical frameworks are also a product of our evolution. We have built societies based on cooperation and empathy. The journey from Dolina to today is the true epic of humanity. The darkness is part of our story, but it does not define it. The whispers from that ancient cave